Every morning you get up and you turn on the faucet and water magically appears. You use it for making coffee, for cooking, for bathing, for cleaning, and for flushing. But where does that water come from and where does it go after you're finished with it? Who makes that possible and what challenges do they face in the future? You'll get the answer to these questions and many more in The Future of Water. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Georgeann Moss, and I'm the Senior Director of Sustainability for Dallas College. We produce these free, solutions-oriented webinars about sustainability for our students, employees, and community, about the many aspects of sustainability, what it is, and how to achieve it. Today's Sustainable You webinar touches on 3 very important 17 Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations. The first is good health and well-being, because we absolutely have to have water for good health and well-being. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. And number 12, responsible consumption and production. So be sure to check out the Sustainable Dallas College webinars on our YouTube channel. And now, let's meet our panelists. Ms. Lisa Hembry was appointed as the director of the Trinity River Authority for Dallas County in 2019. She is the owner of March 4th Communications and the former president of Literacy Instruction for Texas. Ms. Hembry is a current board member of the Executive Women of Dallas, the Archives of Women of the Southwest at Southern Methodist University, and the Texas Capital Community Development Corporation. Ms. Hembry earned a Bachelor of Science in Political Science from SMU. Welcome. Ms. Terry Lowery serves as the City of Dallas Water Utilities Director. As the chief executive of one of the nation's largest utilities, she provides leadership in delivering water and wastewater services, as well as storm drainage and flood control services to more than 2.6 million customers, developing new water resources, continuing infrastructure upgrades throughout the community, and building regional partnerships. Under Terry's leadership, the City of Dallas embraced the One Water concept, focusing on the management of water, wastewater, and stormwater in a single municipal department. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
And Mr. Larry Patterson is a licensed professional engineer in the state of Texas with more than 40 years experience in water and wastewater industry. He currently serves as the executive director of the Upper Trinity Regional Water District. He's responsible for the operation of the district's water and wastewater facilities, as well as water resource planning necessary to serve residents located primarily in Denton County. Prior to joining UTRWD, he was employed by Dallas Water Utilities for 30 years until retiring in July 2002 from an assistant director position. And so now we'll have each of the panelists introduce themselves to you. And if you will, Lisa, tell us a little bit about Trinity River Authority and your role in it.
Thank you, Georgeann. I'm really delighted to be here. The Trinity River Authority was mandated or created by the Texas legislature in 1955. The mission is the conservation of the almost 18,000 square mile Trinity River Basin for the use of its citizens. TRA partners with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to create and develop Joe Pool Lake, Bardwell Lake, and Navarro Mills Lake. Also, it operates 5 wastewater systems and 1 water system. In addition, TRA owns and operates Lake Livingston down near Houston and provides water for the Houston area. So it's a tremendous honor for me to learn from the professionals because I am not a technical person and there's a lot to know about clean water. But I am a strong advocate for clean water, as we all are, because we have to have it for our health and our hygiene every day. So it's a tremendous pleasure for me to learn from these professionals, and when you ask me something I don't know on a technical basis, I'm going to give it to Terry or Larry.
And that's wonderful, and we appreciate you being here so much. And really, we are so appreciative of you being here because you are the representative of the customers of that huge water organization. So that is really what you can share with us today, is that perspective of you being a champion for the customers of TRA.
And Georgeann, you know, the TRA does such an amazing job. The leadership, Kevin Ward and others who are there and have been there for years, are just tremendously committed to the people they serve and to the organization. And I'm very proud to be a member of the board.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And next, I'll introduce Terry Lowery and let her give us an overview of Dallas Water Utilities and her role at Dallas Water Utilities.
Thank you, Georgeann. I'm the director of the utility. I've spent 31 years there. I started as an analyst. Dallas Water Utilities has a service area of approximately 700 square miles. We serve 2.6 million people. We were established in 1881, so we've been around a while. In addition to being a city department, we are also a regional provider of water, wastewater, and stormwater services. We have approximately 1,600 employees who serve our population of 2.6 million people, and we have an annual operating budget and capital budget of $1.2 billion. This slide that I'm showing has a brief overview of the three utilities. Our water utility has 7 reservoirs. 6 of them are connected. We're in the process of connecting the 7, hence the future water that we will have for our area. We have 3 water treatment plants that can produce a treatment capacity of 900 million gallons a day. We have over 5,000 miles of water main that we operate. Our wastewater operations have 2 wastewater treatment plants, and they have over 4,000 miles of wastewater mains. Our stormwater system, which is new to us relatively, it was founded in the water utilities, but then it moved over to be independent. And because a lot of stormwater utilities are underfunded, the decision was made to bring them back into the water utility to get them to more sustainable level, which we are doing. They have 8 stormwater pump stations and 2,000 miles of stormwater mains. There are 30 miles of levees. We are responsible for the Dallas levee system, and 39,000 acres of floodplain that we manage. This map is our regional supply. We have a western system and an eastern system. Our western system is made up of U.S. Army Corps of Engineer lakes. We get water from Ray Roberts, Louisville, and Grapevine. And then we have an eastern system. The city of Dallas owns Lake Ray Hubbard, and then we have water supply contracts in the Sabine River for water from Lakes Tawakoni and Fork. The last water supply contract we have that is not yet connected to our system is Lake Palestine, which are in the process of connecting right now. And one of the sustainable parts of water is how do you afford it and how do you keep it affordable for people? And one of the things that we have done as a utility is join with Tarrant Regional Water District to bring that water in together, saving the ratepayers in the Metroplex a lot of money going forward. In 2018, we became a one water utility with the addition of the stormwater utility and flood control in Dallas Water Utility. And it has been a really exciting adventure. It's been a lot of hard work, and the benefits are starting to pay off. It is a integrated planning and implementation approach. Those are a lot of big words, but it means that we use our resource efficiently, effectively. And stormwater used to be considered something to get rid of, get it out of the way, stop causing trouble, and now we're looking at ways we can use that as a resource. So benefits in a one water system are environmental stewardship. You have more sustainable, resilient watersheds. It also helps us prepare for climate change as we enter different changes in the environments that we're working in by using all of our water resources together. There's social equity and multiple benefits by doing projects that benefit more than one community and one purpose at a time. and economic prosperity. Working together, we are having a more sustainable, more reliable water wastewater system. And because we do water supply and flood control, it gives us seamless organization with our federal partners. So that's very beneficial. This is just some of the regulatory agencies that most utilities operate under. We have federal and state, lots of regulation in our different utilities. And in addition to meeting all of our regulatory requirements, these are some of the areas that we have exceeded those standards. We are a superior public water system. I think 10% of the water systems in the state qualify as that. We have a AAA bond rating. Our laboratories are NELAP certified. In our stormwater world, in the community rating system, which helps our residents with flood insurance, we have a 4 rating, which just raised from a 5. We're the only system in the state of Texas that has a 4 rating, and one of only, I think, 4 in the country. And we also participate in the state's Texas Optimization Program, which is that you exceed standards, and it's a voluntary program. One of our treatment plants, Eastside, just received a 20-year participation award. They didn't miss a month of exceeding standards for 20 years. We're the first and the only plant that has received that honor. And with that, I will turn it back to you, Georgeann. Thank you.
Thank you. Very impressive organization. And now, Larry, if you'll tell us about your organization and your role in it.
Yeah, Larry Patterson. I'm the Executive Director of the Upper Trinity Regional Water District, and I've served in that position since 2018. And I had a great fortune to work with Terry in the past and with Dallas, and I learned a lot of wonderful things there that we brought to the Upper Trinity. We're a relatively new agency. We were formed in 1989 by the legislature as a reclamation and conservation district. We provide wholesale water and wastewater service for 29 communities, currently primarily located in Denton County, but we also serve a few cities in Collin County. Our current service population is 400,000 for water. We are in the process of continuing to grow and bring in new communities in the future. We expect to expand into Wise County and also into Grayson County. Our population service area will grow by 5-fold in the next 50 years. Fortunately, we have wonderful contracts and relationship with the city of Dallas. Our slide here shows our water supply. Today, I'll only speak to water, although we do have 4 smaller wastewater treatment plants, or water reclamation facilities, as we call them. We have a contract with Dallas for water from Lake Louisville and Lake Ray Roberts. We have 2 water treatment plants, one near the dam at Lake Louisville and one northeast of Denton, which provides treatment for water that's imported about 90 miles from the east Texas, Lake Chapman. Also shown on this graph is a future reservoir that is currently under construction. I know we're going to talk about it more. This is Lake Ralph Hall. We've identified over 20 years ago that we expected a shortfall based on our contracts and our available supply by the mid-20s. So we've been working diligently for the last 20 years. And so we had to jump into the planning effort supported by our local partners and our communities that are growing. We have some communities that have grown, for example, in 2010 from 1,400 people to 15,000 by 2020. Some cities are growing 20% a year. So it's a big challenge to keep up, but we're working through that. And I know we're going to have some more discussions related to the specific project that I've mentioned, Lake Ralph Hall. So I'll just stop at that point and we can go forward.
Thank you. Thank you. So now you know the answer to the question, where does our water come from? And you've heard a little bit about the thousands and thousands and thousands of people it takes every day to make sure that that clean, abundant water supply is there when you turn on the tap. So thank you for sharing that with us. We'll start first by asking Terry, we'll talk about water and then we'll move over to wastewater. So Terry, North Texas has been experiencing a severe drought, although we were talking just beforehand, just a few days ago, we had some tremendous rains, which is good. We're not the only ones experiencing drought. Western Europe, Western US and much of Europe is experiencing record droughts. So how will this affect the way that we live and do business in the future?
Well, the saying is that we live in a constant state of drought that is interrupted with occasional rain until we took over the stormwater, and then it rained like crazy. But the bottom line is, I think it already is. Back in 2001, when we started running up against treatment capacity issues, we instituted time of day watering restrictions, which people used to could do whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. And then in 2012, in response to another drought situation, we did twice weekly watering restrictions. And people were very leery of that and very suspicious that it would be something that they couldn't maintain. But it's been very successful. And since we've done that, we have managed to reduce our annual consumption from the time period after the twice weekly to before by 9%. So we're already doing things that are leading towards that. We have added rate tiers so that the value of water is better represented in the rates we're charging. So people you were very concerned about your air conditioning bill or your heating bill in the winter, but nobody paid any attention to how much their water bill was because it wasn't very much. We've added 2 rate tiers, so when you start using too much water, it gets people's attention really fast. And so that's also having an impact on how people are using that very valuable finite resource.
Thank you. Thank you. And so, Larry, certainly one of the things that plays into all this is the population growth that you mentioned in your introduction. And so the population growth is what caused y'all to need to create Lake Ralph Hall. So it's a U.S. Army Corps of Engineer lake, and they issued the final permit authorizing you guys to begin construction. And so how long has this project been in the planning and permitting phase?
Well, actually, just a little bit of clarification. The lake will be owned and operated by the Upper Trinity Regional Water District. That's the pattern at this point. The Corps, they really are not in the business of constructing reservoirs now. They're the primary permitting authority, and they coordinate with all the state and federal agencies, such as the EPA, the Fish and Wildlife, the Forest Service, the Texas Parks and Wildlife, and others, and State Historic Commission, all types of agencies. So we began this process over 2 decades ago.
Wow.
And we actually consider it to be kind of a warp speed. No permit in Texas for a new reservoir had been issued since 1985. So we were blazing a new trail with our team, as well as the teams of regulatory agencies that we were dealing with. Their experienced personnel had retired or moved on to other activities. So it was a learning curve for them too, a steep curve. So the long process, it took us, we filed our initial permits in 2003 for the state water right. We received it in 2013. We filed in 2006 for the Corps of Engineers, what's called a 404 construction permit, which is coordinated with all the state and federal agencies. After an extensive environmental impact study and cultural resources study, it was concluded that the most feasible and least environmentally harmful project could be Lake Ralph Hall. And this project is located in Fannin County, the southeast corner on the North Sulphur River. And what had occurred there, and what made it attractive to us, was it was a site that we believed would have could be permitted and was feasible and would have modest environmental mitigation requirements. What had happened in 1929, the farmers got together there and they created what would be considered a levee district, and they channelized, they dug a ditch 10 feet deep and 16 feet wide, straight as an arrow, to keep the flooding from their croplands. And what happens when you straighten out a tributary, they still have the same slope or velocity, so the water began to erode the channel. So now we have a channel that is 250 feet wide minimum and about 65 feet deep, and it's 40 miles long, straight as narrow. So what we're going to do is dam up and cover about 11 miles of that area. So if you're looking for a lake, having a deep hole is a great thing. And because the channelization and erosion, the tributaries that feed into the Sulphur River would continue to erode too. And so the environmental areas, the habitat has been destroyed. So one of the great things about our project is we're restoring the area, and we'll be bringing habitat for the animals and others, and just the wildlife in general. The picture shown there is our board of staff at the bottom of the reservoir. Now it doesn't look like much, but as it continues to rain, this channel continues to cut down into the shale, which is it appears to be a hard surface, but as it wettens and the environment hits it, the air, it flakes away, and this thing just erodes about 2 to 3 inches deep and 4 inches to the outside every year. So interesting thing.
If I can ask you a question, make sure I understood. So
Sure.
You're saying a channel that started out being 10 feet wide, that's
It's
how,
twice as wide as the Panama Canal at this point.
wow, and that's
the
from
original
erosion.
Panama Canal. So it's a lot of erosion. So all that material's been carried away. And right now we have like flash floods there, and the water will reach half a channel, and then within 2 days it'll be gone. So it is really a unique site, and it's something that we've worked to develop. Honestly, we thought we could get it permitted sooner. It took about twice as long as we expected, but we were very happy to receive the permits and move forward. The lake itself, in scale for the people in the Metroplex, it's about the size of Grapevine Lake, but because it's further east, it will have about 1/3 greater yield of water. It will have about 59 billion gallons of water stored, and we'll be able to generate for our customers 54 million a day, considering reuse, because we capture the water through our wastewater system, return it back to Lake Louisville, and we would have the rights to account for that water in our treatment process the second time around. So it served 29 communities currently, and there's approximately 400 workers there now at this point, actively working since June of 21 when we began construction. We expect to have the project completed in late 25 and begin having testing, and then the water supply brought to our area by the summer of 26. So it's a great project. It's a unique project in many ways. Some of the things we've added, and I'll just talk about it briefly. We have a bridge that will span one section of the lake. It's a state highway 34, and we decided to put a pedestrian way. So you'll be able to walk all the way across the bridge. It's connected to a visitor center trail system. We also, because of the erosion, it's one of the best fossil hunting places in the state of Texas. And we will have exhibits for the fossils. We found several. We work with the Perot Center in Dallas and others to develop this. We are creating exhibits in children's museums in Commerce and also in Ladonia. So we want this to be a friendly place. We want it to be a calming place. We want you to be able to come and enjoy the recreation opportunities that will be there without having to have a lot of money or a boat or a boat dock or whatever. And our board supports that. The pipeline connection, we're very fortunate in that prior planning by the representatives of the city of Irving and Upper Trinity, they oversized the pipeline that from Lake Chapman for about the last 17 miles or so to bring it to our treatment plant into Lake Louisville. So what we have the opportunity to do with just a 32-mile pipeline connect and improvements to our pump station, we don't have to parallel a large section of the transmission system to get the water to us. So we're real happy about that. Costs are going up just like everything now in this environment. but we're on target, and we're moving forward with the programs as funded by the state of Texas.
Wonderful, thank you. So what we know now is that water planning takes a lot of time. It requires that you be on top of population projections, which to me is just mind-boggling how people can predict that, but thank goodness you guys have done that so far, so thank you for doing that. So we've talked about where your water comes from, you know, how to build a lake. Now we're going to transition over to what happens after you use it, and it hits the wastewater treatment center. And so, Lisa, many people don't realize that water is constantly recycled. We're using the same water now that dinosaurs used when they roamed the earth millions of years ago. So, and that wastewater treatment plants use very natural cycles, like the Earth's natural cycles, to help, and you guys just help speed up the processes. So, how does Trinity River Authority dispose of all the stuff that comes out of that wastewater?
Well, what I can say about that is that the processes that the Trinity River Authority uses optimizes and is a much more efficient natural process. So it uses the natural process, but it's an optimization of that. And, you know, because of the disinfection, and I was talking to Larry about it earlier, they use a different type of disinfection than TRA does. But because of the disinfection that has been introduced into the system, basically waterborne diseases have been completely eliminated in the United States. I was listening to a report recently about Haiti, and cholera is, you know, rampant in that country because they just, you know, the country is in chaos and they don't have clean water. So my understanding, and I'm not a technical person, is that the process, the natural processes, are the same as the wastewater treatment system that TRA uses. It's optimized and made much more efficient by the technology that is involved. Is that correct?
It goes a lot faster than
I have to ask.
You got it.
Okay,
That's
great.
Perfect. Great description.
Good.
Okay, so we will go back to Terry then and talk about what changes, if any, you see going forward for retail, industrial, and commercial water customers and suppliers.
Well, that's very important because they use a lot of water in their processes. One of our largest customers is Texas Instruments, and they use almost 2 billion gallons of water every year.
Wow.
We have, in our water conservation program, we include programs for ICI customers, industrial, commercial, institutional. We have companies that will do water efficiency surveys. So if a TI or a hospital or a manufacturer comes to us and say we want a survey, then we will go in and we will survey their operations, evaluate how they use their water, and give them a detailed report on things that they can do to improve their processes and conserve water, thereby reducing the amount of power they use, the amount of water they use in their immediate processes and around. To supplement that, we have a rebate program. So if they implement some of the suggestions in our program that we offer them in the survey, then we will rebate them, depending on the water savings, up to $100,000 for a project. And that's been in place for quite a while. It's pretty successful. Some of the next steps we're looking to do going forward with that same program is to add trainers for facilities managers and for irrigators to use their water more efficiently, and when they plan and operate, to incorporate that in what they do. And also we want a task force, including stakeholders from the industry, so that we can get more buy-in from our customers to participate in that.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Larry, we're going to then talk about water supply planning. It's a regional task, and who are the players involved in North Texas, and what are their roles, and what are some of the projections you're seeing?
Oh, well, everybody's taken the lead from Dallas. Dallas's long-range planning just set our North Texas communities up for success. The Trinity River Authority was formed and supported early on by Dallas, and likewise, as I mentioned, Upper Trinity, our over 50% of our water supply is provided by Dallas, and they've assisted us, as Terry just mentioned, related to their water conservation programs. We all share information, we work together. We've learned to create many videos and public information, just social activities that help. But the planning is really, Texas is very unique in that we have what's called the State Water Plan. And it's a bottoms-up program where the state's broken into 16 regions. We are in what's designated as Region C, 16 counties, I believe. And there's representatives from the environmental community, business, water utilities, government, all across the gamut of interested stakeholders that serve on the board. And it's really coordinated through Tarrant Regional Water District. The TRA, formerly another district was responsible, but the Kevin Ward, as you mentioned, is the head. And so we begin to determine what is our population and the projections going forward for 50 years. Then we determine what would be their consumption per capita, and also including the conservation efforts. So basically, to figure your need or demand over a 50-year cycle, a 10-year basis. Then we come back and look at what is our water supply, what we expect, what projects we're going to complete and place in service, and you get a deficit. And from there, you create what's called a water management strategies to satisfy that deficit. It might mean purchasing more water from Dallas. It may be connecting another reservoir, or actually the new reservoirs are in the minority. There's only a handful. There's 2 under construction in the state. Both of them are in Fannin County, and they're to the east. If you draw a line through Texas on I-35 and go east, that's where the water is, essentially. So we work together, we share. The best thing about the state plan is before, all of us were in various silos. We did our own thing, and we didn't have a mechanism to share or expand our horizon by just discussions with partners. And that's what led to Dallas and Tarrant Regional saving millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. And likewise, us too, with the city of Irving and other partners. So it's a continuous process. We have staff members, they're in a cycle right now leading up to this 5-year plan I mentioned, visiting each of our cities and trying to get their projections for development and growth. But it's just amazing. And there's been some changes in the trends after the COVID pandemic, where outer areas and away from the original suburbs are beginning to grow significantly. And it'll drop in 5,000 home developments where there was just a cornfield, basically. So we coordinate, we share information, we have very, very strong utilities in the North Texas area, and all of that leads to the best possible outcome that we can project for North Texas, because we know that the water and the wastewater services are evaluated by these businesses that want to move in, and they give us a pretty good score, and they know that we're going to anticipate and avoid problems and be ready for them. And so all the panel we have here, our agencies are very well connected and discussed, and we share information freely, and so as a team we work together, and that's what's going to make it a success for our communities in the future.
And it certainly has been successful up till now, because even with the population explosion in Texas, you have always been able to meet our water needs, and we really, really appreciate that. So, Lisa, we'll come back to you and tell us what are some of the major issues facing TRA in the future?
Well, I think cost is one. The cost and difficulty of creating new water sources. I was talking to Larry about the cost of Lake Ray Hall, the new reservoir, it's hundreds of millions of dollars. And people don't really understand the difficulty of moving water from one place to another. And but the wonderful thing, and I appreciate Larry saying it, is that in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, the level of collaboration and cooperation is just tremendous. And it makes a huge difference in terms of solving problems before they really become problems. Mm-hmm. I think one thing is that all of the surface water in the state of Texas is owned by the state. And groundwater, of course, is owned by private citizens. So we really do believe that the stewardship of surface water is in good hands. Some of the issues related to water and wastewater treatment include supply chain issues. We saw some serious issues during the storm in 2021. Just to get chemicals from point A to point B was very difficult. The cost of some chemicals increased 75%. Wow. I mean, essential chemicals. And we're also seeing this tremendous increase in population growth. I was listening to KRLD earlier today talking about the tremendous population growth and commercial entities coming to our area. And the first and foremost that will impact water delivery and the cost of water. So I think those are the primary issues facing the Trinity River Authority. I've been very impressed with the level of professionalism and just engineering. It's a complex operation that never missed a beat during the problems some systems had last year or in 2021. So I'm very pleased to be part of that and to learn more about the sustainability of our water supply in our area specifically.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll go back over to Terry. 99% of the world's climate scientists say that climate change is real, it's happening now, and it's caused by human activities that release greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. What is the City of Dallas Water Utilities Department doing to reduce its carbon footprint?
Well, this is one time that it's nice to be part of a city and be a municipal department. In 2020, the City of Dallas passed its Comprehensive Environmental Climate Action Plan, more commonly known as CCAP. And there were goals set for the city, specific goals. Greenhouse gases was one of them, to improve the quality of life, as mentioned, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and to prepare for the impacts of climate change. And it creates a healthier, more prosperous community for all of us. One of the things we have specifically done is aggressive water conservation programs. With those programs, from the time we enacted the enhanced conservation efforts in 2001, we have reduced our gallons per capita per day, basically how much water each person uses every day, by almost 30% at a time when the population that we serve is increased by 9%. Mm-hmm. So with that reduction in individual usage, we've saved electricity, power costs, we've saved chemicals, we've saved wear and tear on our equipment. All of those reduce our impact and our carbon footprint. Another specific thing we do at our Southside Wastewater Treatment Plant, part of the wastewater treatment plant, it produces biogas. And that biogas is being used to generate almost 42% of the electricity that is used at Southside Wastewater Treatment Plant. One of the things the city is looking at right now is our grounds maintenance. We have quite a bit, and we are looking at a goal of 20% reduction per year. So we're inventorying what grounds maintenance we do internally that are more amenable to electric or battery operated versus gas operated equipment. So that's something we're moving forward with. Wonderful. So that's a little bit of it.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to go back to Lisa, but Larry, I'm going to go off script, and so I'm going to give you a minute to think about this.
Okay.
I know you can. I know you can do it. Career opportunities. Think about what kind of career opportunities are available in the water and wastewater industry that you can tell our students about. So, but before you do, I'll go back to Lisa and say, if the drought continues, some water suppliers may choose to reuse their wastewater instead of releasing it into the Trinity River. What effect would this have on TRA and other entities downstream?
So the briefing that I got from the staff is that that's probably not going to happen. I mean, some of it is happening, but the infrastructure for individual users to reuse water is just not going to be possible. It's not economically feasible. And in fact, virtually all wastewater discharges in the Metroplex have already been contractually obligated. So that's the quick answer. I don't know, Terry, do you, or Larry?
That's a quick answer.
Sounds
Yes,
good.
it is.
Okay.
Return flows
So
are
if it's,
spoken
yeah,
for.
so if it's already
Or you
contractually,
get to go to the courthouse, one or the other.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And we'll
exactly.
help each other along the way.
so again, smart people in the past thought of these things and took care of it for us now. So that's
Absolutely.
great.
So it's not a problem.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be a problem anytime in the near future.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, and so Larry, we'll come back to you. So our students, they're all ages. We have students from 16 to 96. So,
Well, we can work with all of them.
and that's true. And sometimes we have people who've been in one career and they're transitioning to another. So what types of careers are available in the water and wastewater industry, and what should they study?
Well, there's quite a few. I mean, you can be an accountant. You don't have to be an engineer to be in the water utility business. You can be a graphic artist. Mm-hmm. You can be someone that's really more into the computer security. You can be a mechanic and like to turn a wrench or build things. You can be a laboratory specialist, chemistry. You can be a lawyer. You can be a administrative person. We have all those. And one of the great things about Upper Trinity is, even though we're a small group, relatively speaking, we really push internships, and we have active internship programs. Actually with the Tarrant College through some of the utility groups, and we would bring students to work for us. But most recently, we've had a big approach to bring on college students from the various universities on specific skill sets. An example, North Texas, they send us their GIS or their Geographic Information Systems specialists, and what they've led us to later hire these people. We've had engineers, and during the pandemic, we had an engineer that began with us from Texas A&M, and so we just left them on the payroll and send them projects while they're back in school, and they would keep active about our group, and we would share a lot of information with them. Well, later they graduated and they became an employee of the district. We also have specialists that are in right-of-way and management or land acquisition, this type of thing. Many of our individuals, the key thing too in the water utilities, we've hired many students straight out of high school, and they work what we call a shift very similar to what Dallas employs, 12-hour shifts, 3 days a week, then they're off 3, then on 4. And so they're able to go to college, and many of them have achieved their degrees while they're on their off period. So they have a full steady income and been able to work with that, and they're better students because they're applying a lot of that, and they help us too. So we also bring many veterans in. We have about 35% of our workforce are veterans. And so there are special programs that veterans have that come back to work with utilities and others. So it's just a great career. And if depending upon, it's not a matter of you've got to work and become a civil engineer or something or a chemist. There's many other opportunities, and it takes all. every employee is very valuable, whether they've been there for 2 months or 20 years. They have a role to play in 24 hours a day, because we're on duty 24/7 to meet our needs. So I would say it's a great career, and it's the benefits are improving, and the salaries are very competitive, and we're just seeing a steady work for all of our people, and a varied work, not just one limited little activity. There's a lot of things to do, and so that encourages people to stay. Our turnover rate's very small in the industry in general, but at Upper Trinity, it's very small. And we bring in a lot of some retirees that are very experienced, and they train the other people. So we have certified trainers too. So we train and pay for training for you at the district's expense.
Thank you. Thank you. And so I'm so glad to hear about the internships and the apprenticeships, and hopefully maybe we can work something out with Dallas Water Utilities in the future
Absolutely.
as well, because I know you're always looking for good people.
Yes, we are.
What needs to happen to adapt to the water effects of climate change? So in addition to conservation-focused programs, what strategies are the City of Dallas focusing on to mitigate the impact of climate change?
Well, we, as was mentioned earlier, and I think Larry talked about it quite a bit, long-range planning is one of our core functions as a utility. Back in the 50s, Dallas almost ran out of water, as you were with the utility, both of you remember stories of. So Dallas learned its lesson very well, and we have taken our long-range planning very seriously since. Our last long-range water supply plan was done in 2014, and at the time, I think it was fairly forward-thinking, we evaluated the impacts of climate change on our water planning strategies, and we incorporated a 7-degree Fahrenheit increase in temperature over our 50-year planning window, which increased the evaporation of our water supply, so it reduced what we had available for us. What we're doing, we just awarded in November an update to the long-range plan, which will look at the increasing population, our water usage patterns. One of those scope items was also an update to our water conservation plan, strategic plan. So we'll look at new strategies going forward. Aquifer storage and recovery is some of what we'll be looking at, how we can use our stormwater resources. Are there ways that we can use that? And strategies that we can adopt for additional water conservation. And about 48% of the last plan was additional conservation and indirect reuse. So we'll be looking heavily at indirect reuse as well going forward.
Thank you. So like Larry, I really am in awe of Dallas Water Utilities, because you guys always have been on the forefront of many things. One of the first things I thought about, you were mentioning, Larry, about stakeholder input. You used to get stakeholder input when you were at Dallas Water Utilities as well. Dallas Water Utilities cared about what the stakeholders thought long before that was a popular thing to do. And now Dallas Water Utilities is at the forefront of addressing climate change. So I applaud y'all for that. So here's a question for all of you. You'll all have an opportunity to answer it, and then we'll do a wrap up and just ask you if there's anything else you'd like to tell the audience before we leave today. But here's the question for everyone. There's two. Will personal water conservation efforts in our homes and businesses make a positive impact, or is the scope of the problem much bigger?
Well, what I can say about that is that I'm one of those people that until I really started learning more about water conservation, when I brushed my teeth, I was running the water constantly, and somebody pointed that out to me and said, "You're just wasting water." And we don't realize how much water is lost through just, people not knowing that you don't need to leave your water, your irrigation system on when it's raining. And simple things that we can all implement, I think, over time will make a huge difference. So I think individual conservation, so that we're not just losing a lot of water through, misuse, is going to be huge in the future. And also education. I think little kids, from elementary school need to really learn and know that water is an essential resource to life, and they need to know how to wash their hands and brush their teeth more efficiently.
Thank you.
Well, to pile on that, especially about the children, we have hundreds of visitors to our treatment plant. We have created demonstration gardens at our regional treatment plant to show native plants and how these could be maintained. The gardens, we have different gardens. We also have a community garden where kids have never seen vegetables growing. It's about 80 plots, and half of that, the vegetables are given to the Salvation Army. We have outreach at the communities where we work with the local school district, and we send our team out to the different schools. We have watershed. We show them the impact of pollution on the watershed, and through various demonstrations and things. And we've created a series of videos too, and actually worked to create the coursework to hand to the teachers to present. And usually those are about a 6-week program. So a lot of things like that. But we are seeing, we extended our water conservation outreach program through December, where normally the summertime we would kind of pull it back. And I get the demand numbers each day, and we track it, because especially during the drought. And we pulled back to our 5-year rolling average on daily usage. So it's about a 15 to 20% reduction in the last month, and it's helpful. We're also seeing, you mentioned the per capita usage, and in 2000, the per capita usage was somewhere around 180 gallons per person in our service area, and now it's less than 140. So we pushed this, and the outreach, we have videos telling people, here's how you turn your sprinkler off. And we have little comical things where little videos and cartoons that have a sprinkler head talking to a water drop about how tired it is and let me get a rest and stuff. And just little gimmicks to some degree, but smaller lots, more efficient appliances, all these things in the new communities are showing that we can get along with less water. And we have seminars in Dallas and others attend to educate the irrigation specialists, and we give certificates. And we actually, one other thing I'll mention, and then I'll stop, is that as a wholesaler, we do not come in contact directly with a retail customer, but we have a program where we actually decided to go to the customers and within our city areas, and we evaluate their irrigation system, find their defects, just give them a full report. We're not allowed to repair it, but we give them a list of certified vendors that could correct their problems. And we're finding that if they would implement these things, it would save 2,500 gallons a week. So if we did that over thousands of people, what it's showing is that our lake is needed, but we can maybe defer it a little bit, plan it out more correctly, and save money possibly, and save the environment. So it takes all of us, but it definitely will make a difference if we just keep educating. And the young children are absolutely spot on to let them know about it. And they go home and explain to their parents what they're doing wrong.
But also, I think what I learned is that people throw things in the toilet that they shouldn't. And that creates so much expense when it goes through the wastewater system. I mean, wipes, baby wipes and things like that, those are not biodegradable. And so it messes up the system. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think educating people about those kinds of things really does make a difference.
Thank you. And Terry?
I would agree that personal habits and what we've learned make a difference. And I second what Larry said. Education is critically important. We do a lot of educational programs with school children. My daughter's the one who got me recycling when she was 6 years old. And you know what? I cannot throw something recyclable in a garbage can to save my life. And she did it for me. Mm-hmm. So it does make a difference. I will counter it a little bit. I think we've gotten a lot of the easier wins in water conservation between time of day watering, maximum twice weekly watering, the plumbing fixtures that Larry was talking about. We've got those. So going forward, I think we're going to have to dig harder. And maybe it has to do with turf replacement, landscaping ordinances, but I think moving forward, we're going to have to find other ways to continue making a difference.
Yes, absolutely. And the point is, we can't, if we are socially responsible people, we cannot say, oh, we don't have to do the little things. We expect the business and industry to do all the big things and take care of it for us. Everyone has to do their part, whether it's turning off the water when you're brushing your teeth. So yeah, I agree. It's both and. We need to do both. So we're running out of time, so we'll wrap the last question into one. So go ahead and tell us where people can find more information about your programs, and at the same time, you're sharing your final thoughts with us today. So we'll start with Lisa.
TrinityRA.org. The main headquarters, the general office is in Arlington on Collins Street. There are resources there that on the website that will help people understand what TRA does. Finally, I would say that the Trinity River is now an ecologically sound resource. And because of the Clean Water Act of 1972, that came from the cultural awareness of the community, we now have a resource that is both recreational, it's clean, and to a large extent, we can thank the people of Texas and in the basin for getting us there. So that's it for me.
Thank you. Terry?
I'd just like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about one of my favorite subjects. It's fun. Information about our water conservation program is at savedallaswater.com. In the city of Dallas, DallasCityHall.com, there's a section on Dallas water utilities if you want to learn more about the utility. Thank you, Georgeann.
Yeah, Georgeann, thank you too for the opportunity to be here and just to share with this great panel. Opportunity would be UTRWD.com and also LakeRuffHall.com. But the final thought, this whole program of developing the reservoir, we were told, no, you can't do it. It's impossible. Don't even fret about this. You just got to do something else. Go to Dallas. They'll give you all the water you want. Well, they don't have it to give. So the 3 Ps. You have to understand the purpose of the project. It has to be a good project, a good purpose. And you have to have patience because it takes so long and you can get frustrated easily, and you just persevere. Your goal is worth the effort. And so our people have collectively done that. Now, have we been perfect in every occasion? No, but we've been pretty close. And is it going to cost a lot of money? Yes. But one of these days, they'll look back like they look at some of the Dallas reservoirs and goes, well, that was a great bargain. So it's water for the people, and that's what we're all about.
Thank you. And with that, I can think of no greater advice for our students and our community members than the 3 Ps. That works for if you're building a reservoir or if you're living a life. So thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.